Yo, it's your boy Chris here, Art Mage Chris on the channel. So tonight we're going to be going over some figures. So just finished recording it. We're going to go ahead and we're going to jump right in. And the subject for this class, this lesson, is the line of action. What is the line of action? What do it do? The benefits of using the line of action. Let's loosen up those characters for you. So I'm just going to show you my process on how I do it using time models. And yeah, let's get right into it. What's good, y'all? It's your boy Chris here, also known here as Art Mage Chris. So in today's video, we're going to be, I'm going to be showing you how to draw the line of action. For those who don't know, the line of action pretty much helps you add more fluidity into your illustrations. And it all starts by just drawing a line. That's all that is just drawing a line. So with this line of action, it really does help you add fluidity to your characters. It helps them become more looser per se, right? And it all starts with that one line. So to get started, we can actually, I'm gonna go ahead and position myself in the illustration stance. So here is, on the left, we have an actual picture of a figure here. This is our reference. Never be afraid to use references. References is a huge part when it comes to illustration. And on the right here, we have Clip Studio Paint Pro. I have the license model. So I'm actually paying for the Clip Studio Paint Pro program. We're using a Windows PC. I don't think that really matters, but for those who want to know, just blowing up the image here on the side, and we have this illustration set at 10 minutes. So after every 10 minutes, this figure will change, and then we will move on to a new figure. But in tonight's video, I'm really just going to be explaining and showing and teaching you all how the line of action plays a huge part in this, I guess you could say, course. So what I am going to do, I'm going to use this tool called snipping tool. The time is still frozen, so we're not being timed yet. But I wanted to go over something before we actually get started with the illustration. So snipping tool is pretty much available on all Windows 11 PCs, Windows 10 PCs. So with the snipping tool, I am just going to just snip that really quickly. And that snip should show up here. And this is our little snip. Now, I'm going to go ahead and open with a certain program here. I'm going to save it. Go to my downloads folder. Go to one of the screens here. Downloads. And we're going to open it with, let's open it with Paint. The basic program, right? Now, I'm going to minimize the screen, and I am going to show you and pretty much like an overlay on how to get things done, right? So we have the figure. And for those who don't know, I've used the snipping tool, which is included in Windows. So this is a great way on taking snippets. Now, what I really do hate about Windows is this icon that comes up here. I'm not sure why it does that. I mean, I get it, but it gets very annoying. I'm gonna have to use my actual mouse to do this. There we go. So, let's take a pen brush here. Just minimize the size, maybe 1 pixel, and we're gonna do a red color. See how that looks. Let's see. What if we make this? Okay, that's good. 3 pixels. See if you all can see that. We may need to make something a little bit clearer for you all. What about a blue color? Yeah, that kind of gets the job done here. So, let's do this lighter color. I like the dark blue better. Red is pretty nice too, but I'm not sure if it's going to show up right or not. Let's see. Yeah, it kind of blends in with the figure. So we're going to do blue just for the sake of being able to see everything. Now, the way to get started is we want to get a good sense of the figure itself, right? The size of the figure when starting out with an illustration. So I always try to kind of like gauge where the size is, like how the size is. Boom. And I'd pretty much do like an imaginary measurement of how things are done. All right. Now just imagine this piece right here, right? It's just a blank sheet of paper. You have to actually imagine this figure. This is how I do it. Now, to get started, we start off with a circle for the head, and then we just go like that. See, it's like a stick figure. That's pretty much what it is. And then you have that. You have that and that. Now to do the arms, you just drag it like that. And then the hands. So pretty much what we did was we started with the circle, and then we went down with the line. Now to further illustrate how that works, let me close this and let me show you how that works in Clip Studio. I'm just doing a little test here, and I have all my presets already done here, so I don't have to do any editing. So we're going to start off with a gray, little gray pencil. And I'm going to increase the size. Increase the size of this pen. I'm going to do a pen. There we go. Something you all can see. So, like before, we want to gauge the measurement of the figure. So I'm going to turn the timer on. So now the timer is should be counting down. There we go. Gauge the figure. You know, we're going to look at it. I always brush my arms to try to get a good length. And we could just do something like this, right? This gives it a base of the actual figurine. So we got this bottom piece here, and we got this top piece. And once we go on, we'll go ahead and do the circle like before. And then the line. Now, you see how I make this line very curved? What I'm doing is I am matching how this line is based on how her spinal cord looks to be from the front. Like you try to imagine how her spine kind of looks, but you can only see it from the front. Now, I make a little dark dot right here to indicate that's where her the end of her, I guess you could say, buttocks, the tailbone area, whatever it is. And then I will start with that, the shoulders right here. And then we can see that she's sitting, right? So this little plaque thing, this little cube, it seems like a very important object in this illustration. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create like a lighter line here. And just by looking at this, and we haven't even finished, you can get a sense that the character is somewhat sitting, and that's because of this loose spinal cord line of action. The line of action is like an S, you know. You always want to add that curve. Sometimes it could be straight, but a lot of the times, the human body isn't completely stiff, and that's what the line of action helps you do. It helps you uh, make the character very loose. And you can see how we're adding more lines here, right? Boom, boom, we got the feet. Again, um, it's like she's slouching, right? You can't really tell that until we actually go over this, I guess you could say stick figurine or skeleton. Now, we're just doing lines at the moment. So, do that. We always want to try to match where, so let's say this is the belly button area, right? Well, her shoulder stops around that area. Then her arms go down like this. Same thing here. And then I will put this here. And there's the neck. Boom. And we get this sense of like the character is actually slouching, and we don't really finish it. The goal here with the line of action and stick figurine is not to fully finish the illustration. That's all goes after you establish something like this. And a lot of times you really even don't have to finish this, right? You can just do mini illustrations based on how this looks. Now, let's say we wanted to go even more into the figurine. Well, now we have a good gauge of where everything should be. We can then go ahead, and I also always start with the little torso area here. Then just imagine you drawing like a superhero underpants. This is like the lower area, the waist. And then we finish, we go in and we add muscle into the character. We have about 5 minutes on the clock. Boom, boom. This is like her shirt. Try to add this here. Remember, we established that shoulder area earlier, and that's because we always start with the preliminary illustration of everything. And all I'm doing is, so right here was the initial line of action for the arm. Well, all I'm doing now is just adding the other side, the other line on the other side. Then this is the hands. A lot of times with the hands, you don't have to be super perfect with how they look, especially for a sketch. But you just want to get a sense of where where everything is going to be, right? Always put like the index finger right here. You got like the hands stuff. Usually I take my time with the hands a lot because I really do believe that having good hands in your figurines helps them pop a lot. So I am for take your times with the hands. 2 minutes and 58 seconds on the clock. It's the attitude of the figure. It's being able to establish that attitude of the figure. You can just you want to be able to feel how the character is feeling when they're doing whatever it is that they're doing. And the line of action are one of those techniques that you can introduce in your illustration work. And you see how I am just making more lines and then adding other things on top of it. Don't be afraid to go through any of your lines or muscles or whatever it is. Don't be afraid to erase. Now, getting this, getting that, this feel, this little, it's trying to establish some weight, right? So, um, and a line of action right here. So this is where the beginning of the feet would be, the ending of the feet of that foot, and then going in like this. Okay, we can erase the base area. You know, we can do whatever here, and then we can add that cube we saw earlier. The cube we see here. And the illustration is done. So just, that line of action helps you finish that rough. And not only that, but you get to finish this rough in the time that it actually took to do it. It was 10 minutes. We started the timer about 5 minutes a little earlier. I mean 5 seconds a little earlier, but just with that, you know, we finished it right on the clock, which is those good feelings. Now, what I'm going to do, however, I'm gonna go back to this figure and just show you all some other things. So let me go back here. So now that we have the skeleton, right, of the figure, then this is where we can go and start adding more to the figure. Um, and you can do this by going here, changing the opacity of the layer, and then going over it again. Um, but for the sake of the video, we're not going to be doing that. We're just learning about that line of action. So let's go to the next one. With this one, the same thing, right? Trying to imagine and visualize her spine. We have the head here. We got this S shape, and then it stops here. That's her waist, and then it goes down. So if remember, I always start with like I always gauge like a distance. You know, gauge like where the head will stop at the top. You know, sometimes I would close my right eye, look at the figure. Okay, so we see something like probably stops here. And this line of action, you know, this line of action step, I I I sort of do in my head now. But it's good practice to actually draw everything out like this because at the end of the day, it helps you mentally illustrate something like this in your imagination. Um, but what I like to do too as well is start out with the outline of the figurine because I'm already basing things off of a figure just like this in my head. There's so many different ways you could draw. There's no rule on how someone draws figures, characters. There's no rule for that. Um, just experiment with many things because that's how you learn. So let's go ahead and start the timer. Right, the timer is on. So got the head here. We got the neck, spine, and then this is the torso area. Make sure that comes up, which it does. Boom, boom. The feet, the foot. I always say feet. The foot area. We got the other side here. So just like, you know, it's like on a slant, right? So we got the other side here. Boom, boom, boom. Just it's just doing stick figures. That's pretty much it. So the stick figure you always, you know, drew in grammar school, high school, college, kindergarten, whatever it is. That's a very important way on drawing a figure. Now, what I like to do too is start with a box too, like this. I like doing this sometimes because that helps you kind of like I don't know. It just helps that ways. There's so many different ways I draw. I've I've never been that person that only drew one way. I just never been that way. So now you can see it's a little bit different how I showed you all because I was being more strict on my method. Now this I'm showing you how I would do things pretty much without like a legit method. It's just me doing things. Also too with his face. See, I did the lines like that. do that a lot with your faces. It will really help you somewhat establish where things should be. Um, active add shadow here. Mm. Now, right with the arms. See how I'm jumping from one thing to another? It's okay to do that. Just be free with it. You know, just be free with it. Now, when they get to the torso part, um, what you could do is add something like this hump right here. Yeah, it's like a that's what like the bone is. Yeah, I'm no what you call that guy who knows every single bone and muscle in the human body. You know, I'm not a doctor. Just draw, because what happens is when you believe in those things, I mean, well, not believe in those things, but when you take those things too seriously, you start to get uptight with yourself, like, man, why? I need to know this, I need to know this, I need to know that. And if I don't know that, what, I can't draw it. No, just just draw a loose character. Just draw it however you see fit. Yeah, anatomy is important, but it's really about just feel your drawings. Don't worry about you not being able to get certain things right. Just 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 draw. See out of the feet, I just did a triangle. Yeah, it's about establishing the action. Okay, now I'm gonna do this fist. Not quite run out of room, but I'm gonna do this fist. Let's see how I'm gonna do it. Let's see how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it like start up. I'm gonna do the line here, and then I'm gonna boom, 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 boom. My eraser pretty big, but it's all right. You see how over exaggerated her forearm made it pretty big like that? That's perfectly fine. uh, Over exaggeration, especially if you're a cartoonist, that's what you do. That's what you do. And then let's over exaggerate this area, right? Here. Boom, 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 boom. Look at that. You want to create that energy from the character that you're looking at. Um, and then with the chain, you don't have to be specific with it. You know, you can just do something like this. It's indicating that she's pulling something, right? You don't gotta worry about that until we're timed here, so it's gonna be a little bit different. Now, when doing these lines here on the face, let me go back. I'm gonna show you something. So you see how it looks pretty flat, like her face kind of flat. That's because the lines aren't positioned correctly because it was so early in the process we didn't know how the hair was going to look. But now that we have a sense where the hair is, go here. It looks a little better. But a minute and 10 seconds on the clock. Being able to do your faces, if you can, in the figure, that makes your illustrations pop too as well. Your roughs, it's not super important, but having them in there helps. The nose, I just put a line here, and then the mouth. The lips. Chin area. And we are done. Like, technically, like for real, we're done. And then it goes straight to the next one, right? But you can see we got most of that in 10 minutes. 10 minutes is it's not bad, man. It's not bad at all. Um, the goal here is not to be stuck on one small thing. That's why you don't finish, because you're stuck on one small thing. See, I'm still drawing it. Now it's just based off of imagination. Just once, you stuck on one small thing, and that's why you never finish your figures on time, because you're trying to add too much detail when you don't need to until later on. That's not in the illustration, but yeah, you add whatever you want in there. Right. Belly button is probably right there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I just want to show you all the line of action and how it helps you when establishing your illustrations. This was a good session for me, just 10-minute figs, but I wanted you all to really see the process, how things go. One, I started off with the gauging the distance of the character, how I did this. Once you have that distance, then you go and you do the circle for the head, and then from there, just line. So it's pretty much a head and like a line like that. Dot for the torso area, dot for where the shoulder is going to be, and this is the neck. Boom, boom. You get something like this. Boom, 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 boom. Look at that. So this isn't anything. This is just out of imagination. You just start with that line of action, man. The line of action is your friend. All right, so I hope you all had a good time watching this. This is straight. This is like live. There's no script to any of this stuff. This is just how I draw. Um, Being able to do this will help you so much. So I hope you all have a good one and talk to you later. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, visit the links. I have different links here. If you want a tip, you can. So my what you call it, the Streamlabs thing. Yeah. So you all have a good night, and I will talk to you soon.